Hey, 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 you're waking up with Craig. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen out there. It is November 15th on a Thursday. We have Thursday night football tonight. And yes, our special guest, Bo, is going to be joining us very soon. We're going to start with the quote of the day, as always. There may be people that have more talent than you, but there's no excuse for anyone to work harder than you do. Derek Jeter once said that. And that's true in life, that's true in sports, that's true in work, it's true in school, it's true in everything you do. There will always be someone who's better than you, someone who has more talent than you, but there is no reason for someone to ever outwork you. Now, if we're going to talk about talent like we did with Derek Jeter's quote, there is nobody with more talent in the country than the Duke Blue Devils. And joining us now is Bo Norcross, our first ever guest. Bo, thanks for joining the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Siege.
Honored to be here, buddy. So, Bo, let's look at this Duke team. You got Zion Williamson, Reddish, Barrett, Trey Jones, and of course, the greatest coach of all time, Coach K. Do you see this Duke team losing at any time? And if so, when do you think that first loss is going to happen?
I mean, this Duke team is very, very talented. Don't get me wrong, but every team has that one game where maybe they come out slow, they don't play as well. I was looking at the Duke schedule, and there's a tough stretch that they have that starts with Florida State, then they go to Syracuse, and then they have Virginia. All 14, 15, and 4th ranked teams. I mean, you could lose one of those three down the stretch, don't you think?
Yeah, I think the tough stretch even starts a couple games before that, leading up to it. Texas Tech plays at Duke, Clemson at Duke, and then Duke goes to Wake Forest. And I don't think Duke's going to lose that game, but you have trap games and sometimes travel days. And then Duke goes to Florida State. I think that Florida State game is the first loss. I think Duke will beat the Qs at home and Virginia at home because I just don't think Virginia's going to score enough. But playing Texas Tech in 19th-ranked Clemson and then traveling to Wake Forest and then to Florida State, who's going to probably be a top 10 team by then, I think that's when they could finally lose their first game. But if we're going to talk about losing games, we have got to talk about the Boston Celtics. Bo, what's happening there?
I mean, they're 8-6, don't get me wrong, not the start that we all kind of thought they would have, but let's not panic. We're 14 games into an 82-game season. I just think people tend to panic early on, Boston fans expect greatness right out the gate, no matter what. And, I mean, I'm one of them. I understand it. But I just think that we need to relax a little bit, let Hayward get healthy. Brad Stevens is going to do his thing. We know the great coach that he is. I'm not worried at all.
Now, I got a problem, though, because there's one stat that makes me panic a little bit.
Yeah, let's hear it.
The Celtics are 4-1 at home, as you expect. There's nothing like that crowd. Away, they're 4-5. Which you can figure it out because hopefully there'll be a 1 or 2 seed and have home court advantage. The stat that scares me is against 500 or over teams, we're only 5-5. Those are teams we're going to have to beat come down the stretch. We're going to have a second round matchup with either the Sixers or the Bucks. And if we fall to the 4, we'll be playing the Raptors in the second round. How do you think we can take care of business against some of those teams?
I just think that the biggest thing is we've got to get fully healthy. That is huge. If Hayward's full strength, this Celtics team's a totally different team. He's limited to about 25, 24 minutes. They've been talking about it. I mean, that's not his normal. He'll get 30, 35 minutes at least. He's a gamer, but I just think that's the biggest part. They're starting to learn how to play with Hayward too. Remember, they only got 5 minutes with him, so I mean, they're learning that too. I think once we get to that point, I think the Celtics will be the team we all expected them to be. They'll come out of the East like we all know they will. We'll get the Warriors in the finals, but I'll try not to get too far ahead of myself yet.
Quick prediction: you think we can play with the Warriors in the finals?
I do. I think it's going to be tough, especially if Boogie's healthy. Steph has got to get healthy too, but it's going to be a tough series. Let's just say that.
Now, the Warriors have been number 1 in the NBA for the past couple of years. Now, I know you're a huge tennis guy.
Yeah.
Novak Djokovic is finally past Nadal as number 1. Now, I know you're a big Federer guy, but what do you think about Novak at number 1? Is he deserving, and is he the guy you would take against anybody right now?
Oh, right now, no doubt. Federer has, towards the end of the year, he tends to be aching more. He strives at the beginning of the year. So I think that right now Novak is the clear one, and for a reason. I mean, he's been playing out of his mind. I mean, Nadal's not even healthy. He's not even in the mix right now. He's done for the year, actually. So the only chance Federer has even to come close to that 1 seed would beat Novak in this recent tournament. They are playing their finals right now out of the best top 8 guys in the world, and I don't know if he can do it. Novak's been so tough. I don't think anyone can beat him. To be honest, right now he's in his prime.
All right, you heard it here. Bo believes Novak is number 1. Now, we just talked about Novak being number 1 in tennis, the Warriors being number 1 in NBA, the Duke Blue Devils number 1 in NCAA, but there's no doubt Alabama is number 1 in the college football playoffs. Bo, can anybody compete with Alabama?
Well, you know how I feel about Alabama, CJ. Roll Tide, baby. They are the team to beat. They always are. I mean, Nick Saban, Coach K, those guys, they're always a top because they're great coaches. And that is why these teams are consistently good. They recruit well, stuff like that. But, I mean, can anyone beat them? Seitel, come on. That's a joke game this week. Like, come on, let's be a 40, 50-point game, you know? Auburn's not going to hang with them, not this year. They're not the same team they were last year. Probably a 20 to 30-point win for Bama. Then they end the year in the SEC Championship. It's already been decided. They will play Georgia. The game has been scheduled. Does Georgia compete? Maybe. Maybe.
Now, that game's in Atlanta, too. So Georgia somewhat has that home field without it really being home field.
Right, and that's kind of messed up. But I don't think this Georgia team is as good as the team that they were last year. Their run game is severely different. I mean, they don't have the backs they had last year. So that's a big part of it. So I think Bama does take this game by 10 points.
Now, if the college football playoff started today, Alabama would play Michigan in the first round, and Clemson would play Notre Dame, my Fighting Irish, in the other first round game. But I think Michigan, although out of those 3 teams, will give Bama the toughest game because Michigan is only allowing 14.1 points per game, which is the lowest since 2014. And that team in 2014 that did it, Alabama. I think Michigan can give them a game. I think their offense is good enough. They have some weapons. And who knows, if you catch them on a bad night, their defense might be able to stop Tua. And I think Tua is good. Tua is great. And I love the kid. He's a great kid. But I think Michigan can compete with them. What do you think?
I think that might be their biggest test going, before they have my prediction is Clemson-Bama championship. So I think before they had gotten to the championship that Michigan will be the biggest test they've had. Michigan's better than Georgia in my opinion. But I just don't think their offense will be able to keep up. Their defense will try to slow down Bama, and they'll do a decent job, but I think Bama wins like a 24-21 game if they have to. They'll find a way to win kind of thing. And I think they'll do the same against Clemson in the championship, but I can't wait if they play Clemson. That'll be a great game. As a fan of football, I can't wait for that one.
Now, if Ohio State beats Michigan, Michigan has 2 losses, they're probably out. Georgia, they get 2 losses. They're going to be out if they lose to Alabama. And if Notre Dame loses, they're probably out because their schedule just isn't enough to be there. Now, a team that has a pretty easy road with 1 loss to a Big 12 championship is Oklahoma. Their only tough game left is against West Virginia, home. What do you think on Oklahoma?
Oh, don't get me started on Oklahoma. All this hype about how Oklahoma's the big team. Get out of here. Come on now. Big 12's weak. Can't you agree? Big 12 is weak.
I mean, I agree to an extent. You got West Virginia ranked 9. Texas was good at one point. They've fallen off a little bit. But their offense is good.
You want my prediction, though, here?
All right, give it to me.
I think that West Virginia is going to beat Oklahoma in that last week, and that's going to be huge for West Virginia. But neither of those teams have built a big enough resume, even though the Big 12, they set their teams up to play everyone in the Big 12, which is a good thing because generally they have a tough schedule. But, I mean, you talked about it. The only ranked game Oklahoma's had is 19th ranked Texas, who Texas beat them by 3.
Now, you don't think West Virginia has a chance to get in the college football playoff?
I mean, I wouldn't mind to see them. Their quarterback is talented. They're a good football team. Their coach is ballsy. I mean, we saw that 2-point conversion against Texas. I don't know if it's enough. I just think the way I think things will shake out, I think Notre Dame finishes the year undefeated. I think Bama finishes undefeated, and so does Clemson. So there's 3 spots gone. The 4th team, kind of up for grabs, but we'll have to wait and see kind of what happens, Big 10, Big 12, who kind of comes out of it. I know they're talking about Washington State, which is just pretty bad. But if
their first 3 games were Eastern Washington, San Jose State, Wyoming. We can't even talk about that, but I'm gonna lose my mind.
I know.
But yeah, so we're gonna learn a lot in these next 3 weeks about these games. Now, it is time to talk about the NFL playoffs, and nobody is a bigger fan of the Green Bay Packers than my man Bo Norcross. It's probably because I don't know anyone that's dumber than him. But here he is to talk about the Green Bay Packers. Kyle Hansen has left us a comment. Kyle, we appreciate your support to the show. He asked Bo, will Green Bay miss the playoffs? What do you got to say to that?
So first, I think I'd like to start with the NFC North, the NFC picture, the playoff picture. So Rams, Saints, locks. They're going to be the top 2 seeds in the NFC. Then I think we'll only get 1 team out of the NFC East. I think the division winner comes out, but the rest of the teams doesn't have a good enough record to make the playoffs after that. And then here's my thought. I think Packers, Vikings, Bears, and Panthers are the 4 teams fighting for 3 spots. In my opinion, you got the Falcons and Seahawks at 4 and 5. Both teams, I think, are good football teams. They haven't played to maybe their full potential.
They lost a lot of games early.
Yeah, I mean, both of them did. And I just think Seahawks have Packers, Panthers, Vikings, and Chiefs down the stretch. That's a tough 4 games.
Yeah.
And they got to win 3 of those 4 to stay in it. I mean, you got the Falcons with the Saints, Panthers, Packers, and then even Cowboys, Ravens. Like, those 2 games I know aren't very tough, but they could losable games, and when you're 4 and 5, that doesn't make it easy.
Now, Bo, I know you want to get to how the Packers are gonna make the playoffs, but you talk about how the NFC East is only gonna get 1 team, and I agree.
Yeah.
What 1 team do you think that's gonna be?
It's tough because you keep expecting the Eagles to snap out of this kind of funk they're in, So I'd like to say that the Eagles can snap out of it and win the division because I do think they're the most talented team in that division. But the Redskins are up 2 games. Redskins, split with the Eagles, figured out things down the road. Maybe it's the Redskins, and that's who I think I'm going to punch in right now. I think the Redskins surprise everybody and win the division.
What do you think about Dallas, though? I mean, Zeke looked great the other night, and Dak started to play better. They got Amari Cooper. Thoughts on Dallas?
If Dallas can find a way to return to their form of that 13-3 season where they run the crap out of the ball, they get up on you by a touchdown or so, and then they milk the clock with Zeke. And if Zeke plays like he did against the Eagles, Cowboys can be tough to beat. You just need a few more plays from Dak. Consistency. He has some good games here and there, and you're like, wow, that could be a quarterback you could trust. But they need to figure that out first. And I think that maybe they're in the playoff picture late in the year if they can win some division games. Division games will be key, and that's the thing.
And I know you just said they got to figure some things out. And that comes down to Jason Garrett and some front office things. Mitch Spur, a very loyal listener and a good friend of ours, asked, what would Tony Romo do for them? And I liked it. Tony Romo played quarterback for them for some years. He's a great announcer. He's one of the best I love to listen to, and he knows so much about the game. Maybe not as a head coach, maybe just a quarterback coach or someone in the front office. But what could Tony Romo bring to the Dallas Cowboys?
You want my honest opinion here? Because I think Tony Romo could be the head coach of this football team. Let me tell you right now, this man is a smart guy. When I listen to him announce football games, he's calling plays before they're happening. And he's not watching film every week necessarily. He's just announcing. He's not coaching or even there. I do think it'd be maybe a little awkward for him and Dak at times, but I think they were well enough on terms. Tony's a good guy. I don't think him and Dak were ever in bad terms, and I just think that he is smarter and probably would be a better coach. He'd probably relate with all those guys who he spent time with.
And Jerry Jones and Tony, they have a great relationship.
Oh, Jerry loves him.
The star loves Tony Romo.
I mean, I don't think Jerry is a very good front office guy, but let's not talk about that.
We'll get into that another day.
Just,
yeah. Now, back to Kyle Hansen's question about will the Green Bay Packers miss the playoffs? I know how you go, Bo. You think the Packers are always going to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
They got a big game against Seattle tonight.
Yeah, they do.
Give me a prediction.
So I think the Packers are going to win this one 28-24. I think it's going to be a great game. I think Seattle's a great competitor. Every game we play with them is tight. I mean, we've talked about the misfortunate games for us. I mean, the fumble, the mishandled onside kick, the Fail Mary. Don't even get me started on those officials. That was terrible. But
it was a catch, though.
I mean, was it, though?
It was.
I mean, that's your opinion. We won't get into that, though. Anyways, those two games. And then last year, I don't know if 2 years ago, the Packers were in a must-win-out situation. We were 4-6. Aaron then told people we were going to run the table. You know that famous line.
Yes.
Seattle was a part of that, like running the table, must-win game. And we came out and beat them by a couple of scores. I mean, Devontae started the game with that 76-yard touchdown. And I think that's the type of, like, we've had them in situations where we could beat this team. We kind of know what they're about. And let's talk, their defense is weaker this year. They don't have those guys that they were used to having. You know, Richard Sherman, Thomas, all those guys. Those guys are gone now.
Right.
And so I think that's big. I think the Packers find a way to win.
Now, I got you at 4-4-1 right now. That's your record.
Yep.
You got 7 games left.
Yep.
Seattle.
Yep.
That's a toss-up. Minnesota is a toss-up. Arizona, I'm going to give you a win there.
Yep.
Atlanta, toss-up. Chicago, toss-up. Jets, Lions, you'll get wins there. So that will put you at 7-4-1. And then you got 4 toss-up games. I don't see the Packers getting in the playoffs. I see them winning 2 of those and going 9-6-1. And
you don't know if that's enough.
I just don't think that's enough.
I agree. 9-6-1 would be tough. I think we're going at least 9-6-1. I'll say that. I think that we're going to win at least 9 games this year. Go 9-6-1. That might not be enough. It could. Who knows? You never know how it's going to shape out. But my prediction, those 4 games, I think we find a way to beat Seattle in Seattle. That's a big win right there. That Vikings game. Oh boy. I cannot wait for that game.
Well, it's gonna be a rough day for you, Bo. We already know, so you can put that one down as a loss, Bo.
If I do, right? Say I put that one down as a loss. I think the Falcons at home, we find a way to win that game. It's a shootout. It's a hell of a game. I think it's a shootout. We find a way to win it. What was the last game you mentioned?
The Chicago game.
Oh, don't even get me started about the Bears.
Oh, Bo, you've been noted lately to say you're not worried about the Bears.
And you want to know why I'm not worried about the Bears?
Why, Bo? Give it to me.
Because Aaron Rodgers is 16-4 against the Bears in his career.
But now they got Matt Nagy, Mitchell Trubisky, Trey Burton, Taylor Gabriel. Bo, they're looking like a good football team. Khalil Mack.
Also, that 16-4 record, one of those losses, Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone in the first quarter. So he started the game, but only played much less than half of the game. So he gets the loss, but I mean, you can agree with me there that we could kind of call that nothing and even give him 16-3.
All right.
Right? But the Bears, right? They had us by 20 at half.
It's at Chicago, though.
Oh, I know, but we won't be down 20 this time.
Week 15, Bo.
I'm not worried. You
never seem to be worried, Bo.
The Bears
but it's time.
Scare me.
Now look at this, Bo. They're 6-3.
They're
6-3.
Yeah.
They beat the Vikings. 7-3.
Yep.
You guys lose to Seattle. You're 4-5-1. You're down 3 or so games back.
I think the Seattle game's a must-win in a way because if we fall to 4-5-1, it almost feels like all hope is kind of lost. I mean, within the locker room, the guys, you lose that game, you're like, wow, you're at a point where you can't lose again.
Right.
I think 10-5-1 is the magic number. 9-6-1, you're leaving it in other people's hands. You go 10-5-1, you're making the playoffs. You are. I think you could even win the division at that record. I think the Bears end their season at 10-6. That's what I'm marking them as right now. So I think if the Packers get 10-5-1, they beat out the Bears. I mean, that probably means we beat the Vikings to get to 10-5-1. Not necessarily. That could be the one loss. But I think the Vikings ended up around 9-6-1, 10-5-1. Vikings have a chance to be 11-4-1, and I wouldn't be surprised. But I just think the Packers at 10-5-1 find a way to make the playoffs.
Now, we got to talk about this Vikings-Packers game. Because I'm going to be smiling as soon as Anthony Barr hits Rodgers. Because I hope he takes him out again. Because I know you thought that was a dirty hit last year.
I did. Hot take for me, definitely, as they changed the rule this year because of that hit. I mean, you saw the rule change.
Clay Matthews obviously didn't see it, but that's a topic for another day, I guess.
I mean, but it's tough for those type of players because Clay's played this way his whole career, and it's never been a penalty. So you have to admit, it takes an adjusting period. So, yeah, I was mad at the officials at first, but now I see what they're trying to do. I don't like the rule change, even though it was because of that hit. I don't like it because of how, I mean, you saw the hits Clay was putting on people. I mean, they weren't dirty. That hit on Kurt wasn't dirty. It was a football play.
Right.
You know what I mean? And the hit on Alex Smith had the football. I mean, it wasn't even like he had thrown it away. So that's how I view that.
Now, let's look at this, Bo.
Yeah.
We'll break down receivers. I know you were a man of hot takes. But I think you can agree the Vikings got a better receiving core with Thielen and Diggs. I like Devontae Adams. He's on my fantasy team. He's a good player.
Yeah.
But it's really just him right now with those rookies.
Yeah, I mean, Cobb seems like he can't get healthy to save his life. He hasn't, even when he's been grinding out games these last couple of weeks. I mean, he didn't play last week, but he played the 2 weeks before. It seems like he's just not himself. I mean, he didn't play a majority of snaps. It's like he can't get healthy. Geronimo's on the IR. So, I mean,
your running game's been good, though.
I mean,
Aaron Jones stepped up last week.
I love Aaron Jones.
I know. We know.
Can we talk about him for a second?
Give it to me, Bob.
I'd love to talk.
According to you, he's probably some Hall of Fame running back. But give me what you got to say about him.
I wouldn't give him that yet. He's young. But I just think that Mike McCarthy finally gave the man more than 12 carries. He had 15 carries last week, 145 yards, two touchdowns. You gotta get the man the ball. Get the man the ball.
Now, Bo, I know. We live together, so we do groceries together. And we go to Hannaford, and you go to Hannaford, and you got the big names like Frosted Flakes and Fruit Loops. And then you got the Hannaford brand, and then you got just those little bags in the corner of cereal that got no name at all. That's Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is the no-name brand running back of the league. What do you guys say? You had Fat Lacey.
Yep, you're right.
You had Ty Montgomery fumbled and had to get traded. The running back system for you guys just hasn't been good. Aaron Jones played better.
Yep. I think we got to give him some time. He wasn't fully healthy his rookie season, and he was suspended the first 2 games of this season, which was his own fault, off-season mishap. So, I mean, yeah, we'll give him time, but I think he will be the running back of the future for the Packers if we can keep him healthy, and I think he's elusive. I mean, if you've watched film, he's making guys miss in open field, and he's just fast. He's a smart football player. The one aspect of the game that he needs to work on is actually pass protection, and that's why guys like Jamal Williams plays a little bit more, a heavier back who does block well. So I think that's the part he needs to work on. Talking about rookie receivers, though, Valdes-Scantling, he's going to be tough. I think he gives us a big play threat that necessarily, I mean, Devontae's going to give you a mix of everything. He's like Thielen and Diggs. They'll give you short catches, long, they'll do it all. I think that young rookie, he's got a bright future in Green Bay.
You know who doesn't have a bright future? Laquan Treadwell. And I don't even know why we still have him anymore, but don't even get me into that. But you made a point about how McCarthy is giving Jones finally some more carries.
Yep.
Now, I love my head coach. I love Mike Zimmer. I'll go to war with Mike Zimmer. That man has turned our defense around. But I know how you feel about Mike. But how do you feel about Mike McCarthy as the Green Bay Packers?
I'm going to keep this short because it's very simple. Mike McCarthy is wasting years of Aaron Rodgers' prime, and it's driving me insane. Look, he got that 1 Super Bowl, and that is the only reason he is still in Green Bay. To be honest, if he got fired after the season, that'd be the one bonus of us not making the playoffs maybe, if Rodgers doesn't save his fucking job again. my Lord, please don't save his job again. That would be the one bright side to not making the playoffs.
Now, you said Rodgers got one Super Bowl. And that brings me to the hot take that Bo gave us 3 weeks ago. You said Aaron Rodgers has brought more to Green Bay than Tom Brady ever will to New England. And it is time for the number 12 debate. Bo, in your honest opinion, is Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers a better QB? I'm not talking about the best football player of all time. I'm talking about a better quarterback.
Okay, let me just start with this. That hot take that everyone's heard now who's watched the second episode. I'd like to start by saying I did end up retracting that statement. It was in a moment of more anger. I was around a lot of Patriot fans who were driving me insane. And that's a problem with living in New England, isn't it, Jim?
Yeah,
you got to hear these Patriot fans all the time. So I think that was part of it. But I do want to say this, too. Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, is more talented. Now, what Brady has done is really impressive. 5 rings. We might never see that again out of a quarterback. I honestly believe that. Do I think Aaron Rodgers will ever win 5 Super Bowls? No, I don't.
Now, do you think he could have done it with Bill Belichick in New England system?
I do.
You think?
I do.
Now, I remember at one time you said Aaron Rodgers could have won 5 Super Bowls with Bill Belichick at least, is what you said.
Yeah, that was a little hot. But I do think if Aaron Rodgers is in that system with Bill, I do think that he's winning a lot more games. I mean, look at that AFC East division for one. That's terrible. But anyways, I just think that they do know how to win. Bill knows how to win. And if Rodgers was in that with him, oh my God, I think it would be scary. I think it would. And it's been scary with Tom. And that's why this debate is so hard, because it's a lot of what ifs.
Now, Bo, I'm gonna make this debate simple for you.
All right.
I don't think Aaron Rodgers wins more than 1 Super Bowl with Bill Belichick. And here's why.
Oh, boy.
Tom Brady has taken less money.
You're right.
They've been able to keep Gronk, had Brandon Cooks, go get guys like Randy Moss, Josh Gordon, trade for some of these guys.
Yep.
Because Brady has taken less money. And do you know why he took less money, Bo? He's a winner. That man knows how to win. And nobody, I love the Minnesota Vikings, but our quarterback history has been, and that's a whole nother episode.
Yeah, let's not get
But
into that.
Tom Brady knows how to win, Bo.
I agree. Brady is a winner, and I can't take that away from him. And I actually, at first sight, when I was a big Packers fan, I was getting into these debates early. I didn't like Brady, but after what I've seen from him, Tom Brady's a great guy. It's just the New England fans that make you not, you know what I mean? It makes you not like him. But really, it's because he wins so much. And the way he does it is professional most of the time. I mean, when the Patriots aren't maybe cheating or such. We won't get into that. But anyways, I just think Brady...
No, Bo, do you think they did the Deflategate?
Deflategate's bullshit. Let's be real.
All right.
That's bullshit.
Spygate?
I don't know. I don't know what to say about that one. Honestly, that's tough. I don't like that the Patriots have been dragged through the mud, because really these things are kind of minor that are blown out of proportion. You know what I mean?
Right.
Patriots would have beat the Colts in that game. The Deflategate's nonsense. I mean, let's be real, but
I don't. The thing for Rodgers with me is he has found ways not to win games. And I know he's gone on some stretches, but those big playoff games, when it comes down to it, and I know you can blame some of the fumbles and whatever, but Brady has those things happen too, and he finds a way to get over them.
But let's talk about this, right? The couple years ago, we had that Hail Mary in the playoffs, the one against the Cardinals, right? I get that's kind of that's some luck mixed in with an amazing throw for a guy who's on the run on his back foot. Like, you have to admit, the arm strength was impressive.
Right.
But he did put us, he came back. That Cardinals team that year was damn good. They were an impressive football team. Probably better overall than we were, especially on defense. Their defense was tough. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that defense to help out. And I'm not taking anything away from guys like Brady, because he does take a pay cut so that they can build in guys. But the Patriots also don't pay anybody big money. You know what I mean? They really don't. Like, they let Brandon Cooks go, who's been amazing with the Rams. I think that's part of it, though. Everyone kind of takes less money so that they can be great. And Rodgers had been doing that up until this last contract. But you get to a point where, like, you see that they're not bringing in guys anyway. Wouldn't you take your own? Wouldn't you take what you think you deserve?
Well, you know, Bo, I'm a man of winning. I like to win games.
I agree, but, like, at that point, you know the front office is not, like, it's not like he took so much money that they can't pay anyone because they paid Devontae Adams, too. You know what I mean? They kept Randall Cobb, but they ended up letting Jordy Nelson go, which broke my heart. I think that it was the right move, maybe, with the new GM coming in and getting rid of Jordy. I think it was a necessary move. And that maybe the other GM wouldn't have made, Ted Thompson, because he emotionally was too attached to maybe a guy like Jordy. Where this guy comes in and he's just like, well, the business move here is to get rid of a guy who's 33 and on the decline. So,
but back to Fuzz's question about will Green Bay miss the playoffs?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to add a little bit to Fuzz's question.
Yep.
If they make the playoffs,
yep.
Do they do anything?
That's a tough question. I mean, are we at home at all? Are we the division winner?
No. You're
Where
a
are you
wild
making
card.
us 5 or 6 seed?
You're a wild card.
So we're on the road.
Yep.
Probably against. It won't be Saints or Rams yet. It'll be.
It could be a Vikings or
Redskins or maybe even Eagles.
You know, I say do something. I'm not talking win one game.
Right. I think.
Can you go beat the Saints or the Rams?
I mean, you saw the game against the Rams, did you not?
I did.
You don't think that we could have won that game?
I think you would have scored. I agree. Aaron Rodgers would have scored. But I believe they would have scored right back, and the game would have been over.
See, I don't
think
we leave them any time. I think we win either on a game-winning field goal for 30-29.
Did you miss the week when Mason Crosby missed all those kicks?
Don't even.
Five kicks, Bo.
Yeah, that's one game. Have you seen the rest of his season? Because it's been good after that.
I'm just saying.
We all have that game, don't we? We all have that game.
Oh yeah, the Vikings have it about 3 times a year. I understand how kicking goes, but Bo, I think the Packers' time is done. I think it's over. And I'm not even saying this because the Vikings are coming. The Bears are coming. And I think if the Bears and Vikings are pushing the Packers out of the way. You know, the Vikings have won the division the last 2 out of the 3 years. You let Teddy Bridgewater win the division on you guys. I think it is time for the Vikings and the Bears to battle it out every year. And the Packers got to find a way to just start rebuilding.
You say 2 out of 3 years. Really, to me, it's more like, you won the division last year. Do I count that year? What's that year matter to me? Rodgers goes down, our season's over as it is. So, yeah, you won 2 out of 3. One of them not with Rodgers. One of them win. But you also didn't win that division.
So you're telling me the Packers are still the top. You think the Packers are still the best team in the division?
I wouldn't say it's a guarantee. I think the Vikings, Packers are the top, and the Bears are lower.
So, Bo, why are you writing off the Bears so much?
Because I've seen it before.
but you haven't seen this team, Bo.
But I don't care. Their defense is good. Trubisky's gonna find a way to lose games.
But why? He's 6-3 right now.
I don't trust him. Not one bit. You really?
He's got some weapons now, though. Anthony Miller's good. Taylor Gabriel's decent.
He's fast. They got good run game. They got a good run game.
They're getting better.
Yeah, but they're not good enough. Not consistently, week in and week out. You got a guy like Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers on your team, they win games. Trubisky doesn't win you games.
But you know what travels, Bo? Defenses. And that's what they got.
Yeah.
So if they got that defense and Trubisky plays well enough, they're a good team. And Matt Nagy's a good head coach. And I think's hurting you guys is Mike McCarthy's hurting you a lot.
Let me put it this way, though, right? Packers or Vikings have a better chance to maybe beat the teams like the Rams and the Saints. Don't you agree?
I think the Bears have a better chance to beat teams than the Packers.
Oh, my God. All right, that's I don't even know what to say after that.
I think the Bears can go compete with LA. I think their defense is good enough, and I think that's what's going to take to beat them. Because I don't think their LA Rams defense is playing great right now, and I think that the Bears offense is good enough to score, and I think the Bears defense with Khalil Mack can get pressure and go compete with LA Rams.
So let me talk about the Bears real quick, right? They do play the Rams in the regular season, so we'll get to see if they're legit or not. Because to me, they split with you guys to end the year. So let's say they win at home, 7-3. 8-3 with a win on the road against the Lions. That's not even a guarantee. We talked about that. Thanksgiving, You never know, but we'll give it to them. 8-3. They beat the Giants 9-3.
So now they're sitting at 9-3, Bo.
And guess what happened? A collapse. The Rams.
Why do they have to have a collapse?
Dude,
why does every
listen.
Bears team have to have a collapse with you? Eventually, Bo, teams stop collapsing.
Can I talk?
Yeah.
Rams 9-4. They lose to the Packers 9-5. They lose to the they beat the 49ers 10-5, but then they lose to the Vikings to go 10-6. And that is why they have 4 big games, and I think they lose 3 of them. And that's why 10-6, they might make the playoffs. They might even win the division at 10-6. Who knows? Do I think they can go into LA or New Orleans? No. Come on now. They're smarter than that.
What if the Bears beat you? Are you going to be ready to admit that they're for real?
You might have to have me back on the show just to talk about it, Jim.
Bo, the Bears are going to make the playoffs. The Bears are going to get in. You just said they'd be sitting at 9-3. They got to win one more game.
But can they do it? And what if 10-6 isn't good enough? What if Packers go 10-5-1, the Vikings also go 10-5-1, and the Panthers get the last wild card spot at either, I don't know if they've played, but at 10-6, I don't know what the tiebreaker would come down to, or even the Panthers finish. I mean, they're sitting at 6-3 right now. They could easily finish with 11 wins.
So you're not ready to admit the Bears are for real?
Nope, and I will not do it. No. That's it. That's all I've got for you, Jip. The Bears? Nah, not legit. Not worried.
Now, we're going to end this Packers talk. Are you worried that Aaron Rodgers is on the decline?
No. I think we've seen an Aaron Rodgers who's been banged up.
Because I hate Max Kellerman, and he's talking about the Brady cliff.
No, that's not real.
But you know who's in front of Brady for the cliff ride? Aaron Rodgers is sitting on the cliff, and he's just waiting for a little push. And you know who's going to come to the back of the line with a ton of people in front of him because he's got a long career? Trubisky's going to push one person. It's going to be the domino effect. And it's going to push Rodgers right off the cliff.
You're just ridiculous. I mean, the man has still got 7 more years before he's even 40, and you're talking about a cliff. Come on now. Be smarter than that, Jip. Come on. Don't say ridiculous things to get a reaction out of me. This is nuts. A cliff? Are you kidding me? We've seen an Aaron Rodgers all year that's been banged up. Has his stats been as good as the past? Probably not. But he's out there competing every week. You talk about a winner. This guy's put his whole career on the line for this team. He could be one injury away from being done. And he's out there fighting for those guys. Fighting.
His career is going to be a little bit shorter than you think it's going to be.
That's your opinion.
I don't think he plays till he's 40.
That's ridiculous.
He's one collarbone injury away from being Tony Romo. What is that? Clavicles taking him out 5 hits, huh?
He ain't going to be Tony Romo. He's better than that.
We'll see. Bo, thanks for joining the show. And I know it's tough to even talk to you this long about the Packers because just thinking about them makes me sick. But, hey, it was great having you on the show as my first guest. And I hope eventually one day you come back and can admit that the Bears are back.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jim. It was a pleasure.